Hey guys, it's Ron again with the beast. Just wanted to give you a little bit of sound from the 1290V twin. I love this dashboard. You know I'm a kind of a retro guy that likes analog gauges, but I gotta say, this screen is pretty amazing, and I don't even, it would take me half an hour to show you everything it can do. One of the fun things is at some point it shows you a picture of the bike, and then you can see the different things on the bike that you can change. Look at this. Isn't that great? Bike info, and you could do all that. You can change. Now, surprisingly, you can't change the suspension. It's all manual, but they've really set the suspension up for off-road, and you can change all the suspension manually without using a tool. You can just flip the little switches around like that. And but this windshield breaks me up too, because it actually, if you're not going to have an electric windshield, which I kind of always think is just one more thing to break, this thing actually works pretty neat. I guess for long trips, my friend just took a trip to Death Valley. It could have used probably a little bit of a bigger screen. This has been added on. So one of the things that I haven't seen in other tests, and my friend hasn't, is that people think these are tube-type tires, but they're not. They're tubeless, and because they see the fact that you can adjust the spokes, but you can true the rim on this. So for a tubeless tire, 21-inch front end. Front tire, you can if you damage it, you can do some truing of it, and it's still tubeless. And really knobby looking tires that I was kind of a little intimidated riding on the road, but actually I'm still shocked at how light this bike steers. I'm not quite sure how they do it. I'm sure it's steering geometry. And then when it was so light that I kept thinking, well, what's this like off-road? But my friend did take it off-road, and he's done a lot of dirt riding and racing, and he said it actually was no problem. So I'm kind of shocked about that. The other thing is if you've seen some of my other tests, I've done a lot of big trailies, and for some reason this one, unlike the other ones that I've ridden, I didn't feel as intimidated at stop signs and stoplights, because for one thing, I guess the gas is carried down, a lot of it's carried down very low, all the way down to here, and that center of gravity is not as bad as some of the bikes I've ridden. And even though I'm kind of a little bit on my toes on a stop, it didn't feel bad. I've ridden some of these big trailies where you feel like if it goes over a few degrees, it's going over. Oh, by the way, this is the heated comfort seat, which is actually in the low position, which is actually a little taller than the standard seat in the low position. And the standard seat is more like a motocross type seat where it gets really narrow in the front, so you can really get your feet down, but not great probably for long distance comfort. Keyless, of course, it does everything. And oh, I know what I was going to show you. Over here, you have to, this is kind of a trick. This comes off for the dipstick, and the sight glass is way underneath. But yeah, kind of a trick. I haven't seen that in any of the tests. I'm going to let him put that back on. Well, so the motor, everybody knows the 1290 motor is really just a total beast. And when you crack it open, the first thing you think is, well, it's got some real V-twin vibration. It's going to probably vibrate at speed. And I didn't do triple digits, but the speed that I got it up to, I rolled off 6th gear, and I went, oh, well, this is smooth. I could sit on this bike all day. And then I haven't ridden the big twin in a while. It's so nice to have compression braking. In the corners of this thing, you roll off the throttle, and you don't really need to use the brakes a lot unless you're going at a ferocious speed, because it just bleeds speed off if you've got some RPM and you roll off. And everybody knows, this is a killer motor, 160 horsepower, and the bike is on the heavy side. But I'm still kind of puzzled by how they got that front end. This is white power, and it's very trick suspension. I have a feeling they've really done something with the steering geometry, which surprises me no end that it's stable off-road, because it just feels so feathery light. I think this would be, I used to go to Baja a lot. This would be a great Baja bike, because you could really get on some of those roads that are relatively straight, but bumpy and rough and a little soft sand here and there, and you could just crank it up and go. I really would hesitate to take it in any kind of real technical stuff. I just don't think 500-600 pound big giant bikes should be taken onto little tiny trails. But there's also places, we were talking about Colorado. We've both been to Colorado a lot of times off-road. This would be good on probably 98% of the off-road in Colorado. There's a few places where even on a tiny little dirt bike it's pretty hairy, but yeah, this would work just fine. The suspension, I was surprised that you couldn't change on the fly, but actually I think it's really pretty damn good. It's here, you know, here's the adjuster there, and the tires themselves look like they should be illegal off-road knobbies. I mean, they really look like dirt bike tires, but surprisingly on the road, I really couldn't feel them, and it didn't seem to affect the handling at all. And yeah, so and the switch gear is just all first class. You can really hit everything very easily, and mirrors work great. I think I've kind of covered it all. Transmission is good. The only thing I question is I still have a problem with all the weight. I mean, I wish there was something like kind of in between this and the really small dirt bikes. I guess there's a few things that are. I guess the KTM fans would point to some of their lighter, smaller adventure bikes. Yeah, I think there's a big gap in the market between big giant bikes and tiny little dirt bikes. There needs to be more in that middle ground. Anyway, this is Ron signing off.